Behind the Shades.
Are there practices that the women you work with are given, or is it like more of a conversation, or is it both?
It's both. Yeah, yeah. So my work is a mixture of coaching and also embodiment so that they can get and simple movement practices that you can do in your daily life that take 10 minutes and you can do fully clothed, but just doing small things regularly, it helps you get out of your head and into your body. And that means then when it comes to being intimate, it's so much easier because you're not stuck in your head all the time. And also, it helps you to feel more pleasure. So maybe what felt like a 4 out of 10 starts to become more like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. So it's like turning up the volume on that pleasure that you can feel in your body. And that's really important for orgasms.
I wonder how many people have a rating system on themselves. For example, if you and I were intimate, I can say that it was a 5 out of 10, and you may think it's a 6 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10. But that's our overall experience. But then I can say that my experience in it as an individual now was 7. I really enjoyed what she did. I enjoyed the connection, things like that, where you're left wanting, right? That the overall experience was this score, but what you felt was a little bit lower. Is that a type of conversation that you have with your clients as well?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think particularly for people who've been in long-term relationships, like there becomes this, I mean, habits get created and it can end up being same all the time, which then, the passion diminishes or the spark gets less, or one partner just starts to feel like this isn't doing it anymore, and it starts to get a bit sticky. So it is something that comes up, um, or just, or often, to be honest, with my female clients, it's like sometimes they feel like they're going through the motions to please their partner, and it becomes all about their partner's pleasure and their partner's orgasms, and they're left feeling like, I don't know what works for me. This is all I know is this isn't working for me. And so I'm not a couples therapist or coach, but the work I do with women helps them rediscover their own pleasure. Also through a lot of giving them the tools to explore self-pleasure in a new way. So then they know what works for them. And we work on how to communicate that with a partner without their partner feeling like they're getting it wrong as well, which is really important.
What are some of the fears that women may have in the bedroom?
Oh gosh. Some of the, and this is where where I say about getting out of performative stuff, because often I'll hear things like, they're worried about how they look or how they think they look. They're worried about being judged, and that can be being judged for not being expressive enough or being too loud and being too much. It's like we're never quite hitting the spot right. We're either too much or we're not enough. And they worry about, is their partner enjoying this? Are they going to leave them if you don't give them enough sex? Like, there's all of these things, and it's the core of many people's insecurities. Is I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. Or my orgasms take too long. That's another one that crops up a lot. And I'd like to reframe that as like, what if it's okay that your orgasm takes as long as you like and you enjoy all of it and take up that time and space? And if it takes an hour, good for you. There's nothing wrong with that. That should be celebrated, not feeling like there's something wrong with you. Yeah.
Should that be, actually, let me rephrase this question. How should we evaluate the sexual experience? Because some people will evaluate it as, if I don't have an orgasm, it wasn't good. Versus some other people, as you mentioned, it's more of the connection. I enjoyed my time, orgasm or not. So how should we evaluate the sexual experience?
It's a really interesting question. And I think it's about, more than anything, it's about the heart. It's about the connection. It's about the connection between two humans and what gets created, and the sum of the whole being bigger than the parts. I think that's the phrase, you know, it's like you put two people together and then something bigger emerges from that. I really believe in taking the pressure of orgasm off the table, because if that feels like hard work for one party, then putting all the pressure on that is going to make that orgasm even harder to experience. So it's like, okay, instead, how did you feel emotionally? How do you feel about the physical connection, about the pleasure, about the enjoyment of the whole experience, you know? And what would you like more of? What you know, if you're evaluating, then rather than putting numbers on it, it's like, what worked really well? What would you like more of? How, you know, what next time, what else would you like, or what could we do differently? And start to, you know, rather than just putting numbers on it, which could really make somebody feel quite insecure. You know, it's like, how do we bring out the best in each other? Yeah.
And when you mention like the different positions that you can do in different things, is it, because I know you mentioned sometimes we get in our own head and we worry ourselves into it just being performative, right? Is it a question of I want variety in my mind more so than the physical, or is it a mixture of both, saying that I need to make sure that mentally I am there as well as physically I need to deliver as well?
Oh, I love this. And I would say, more than anything, it's never about techniques. It's presence is more important than anything else. So mentally, you being there, being present with your partner, them knowing that you're with them and that you're following what's happening and you're not checked out, or you're not just focused on you getting off, but you're responding to their needs in the moment and attuning to them and co-creating with them. That is a game changer. That's what it's all about.